Welcome back to Cards and Comics. And today I'm going to be opening up some non-sports cards I know everyone's been waiting for. And that is for me to open some boxes of DC comic book cards. Okay. I know no one really wants DC cards right now, but they might. And if I'm going to pump and dump, here we go, guys. DC cards of the future. Not really, but I'm doing this for a specific reason. One, I'm looking for this card, right? So I just bought this card. It's the first appearance of Death. There we go. Oh, there we go. Death. There we go. Death on a card. Death is one of my favorite comic book characters of all time. And I just want, to get more and more cool cards. And I want to get one graded. So my goal is to get either PSA 10, that's the ultimate goal, but or get a SGC 9, 5, or 10. But I really love this character. The Netflix show is coming up, and there's some other cool cards in here. Even though this box of cards I'm going to open is not very expensive at all, it is DC Cosmic Teams, and this is second series. So I believe this is 93. I believe there's a 92 or a 91 series. I don't know my DC sets as well as I should. But again, I'm looking for this card and any Sandman related card. And again, I have a certain amount of players, or not players, but characters I love from DC. And so if they're in here and I get them, I'm going to send them in to get graded. There is holograms, which always are cool. But before we start, I got two packs here I'm going to open first. And these are the Batman and Robin cards, right? Now, the cool thing about these cards is that there's autographs, mini posters, character cards. There is autographs that are 1 in 360. See that there, 1 in 360. And there is, again, Arnold Schwarzenegger, George Clooney, Chris O'Donnell, Uma Thurman, Alicia Silverstone, and Joel Schumacher. So we're going to open these two packs right now and see if we can pull any autographs. These, I actually can't find boxes of these. These are really tough boxes to find. So we'll see if we get anything cool. Now, obviously, it's going to be, DC comic cards, so no one's going to care too much. But, we'll see. There's George Clooney. I love it already because the card itself, like this photo, is super out of focus. Like, that's not my camera. That's the card itself. Just, they took a still from, like, the movie, and it was just really out of focus. So there's a Batman, kind of cool Batman card. There's another Batman card. I don't know if that's like anything special. It says P3 profile. So there we go. It's a Batman profile card. So that's a little bit of an insert. That's kind of cool. It's kind of a little bit of embossing down here. Next up, it looks like a storyboard. So it's like on paper. It almost looks like a sketch, but it's just a storyboard for the set itself, and that's Mr. Freeze. So there we go. More Uma on this card. Here is Alicia Silverstone and Chris O'Donnell as Robin. So did not pull any autographs, but we did get the very cool Batman profile card. I don't know. I liked it. I know that it's not really, none of the stuff is worth anything, but still a nice looking card. And again, they did the classic worst thing in the world when they made the set. They made them jumbo. Every collector hates cards that don't fit in normal sheets or top loaders. It's a rule, man. You open up Allen and Ginner, everyone freaking hates the minis. I know. There's people out there who love mini cards, but they're really not common to find people who just love the minis. Most people just throw them away. They just hate the minis unless there's some kind of short print. All right, here we go. Soundbite. So I'm assuming he's going to be saying something like, "Oh, here we go. Mr. Freeze, everyone is always having a good time except me." Aww. Poor baby. Anyone know what movie that's from?
Oh, poor baby.
With Arnold my favorite holiday movie for sure. All right, so another Ivy. Here's another soundbite. Batgirl, you're about to become compost. That's just awesome. So here is something. Profile number 1. So another George Clooney Batman card. These aren't too bad looking, really. Not too shabby, even though they're big. And there's the other. So you get another one of these storyboard cards. So it shows you kind of how they're going to film it. And then just some more, movie still. So no autographs, a couple profile cards. Not terrible. I mean, again, it's boom or bust. 1 in 360. It's worth a shot. Didn't get lucky. So we'll move on to the Cosmic Teams card. Again, looking for the Death Rookie card. I'm going to call it that until people get super upset and tell me that there's no such thing as rookie cards for Marvel cards or DC cards, because that's kind of a weird concept. So here we go. Skybox Cosmic Teams. A lot of packs. And there's holograms and all kinds of stuff. So I only really care about, Death, Booster Gold, Blue Beetle, and a few characters. Again, so what we're looking for, that. Hoping to get at least one of those. And we shall see what we get. I've never opened these cards. I didn't really open comic cards back growing up as a kid. So this is 93. This would have been first year in college kind of time period. There's Sandman right off the bat. There we go. So awesome. There is Dream from Sandman right there. So awesome pool to start out with. And there's Phantom Stranger, kind of a cool character. So starting out strong with one Sandman card right off the bat. Very excited to have again the series coming out, and I really think it's going to do well, even though I'm not as excited about the fact that I'm not using the classic Death character design, but still I think it's going to be amazing, and the actress could do a great job, so I'm not going to judge you too much, but I do love her design because it's based on a real person. And there's cool, and there's a Justice League character. Not the Justice League character I want, but I do like Justice League, and so I'll put that there because who knows, I might, get all the Justice League International guys. If you ever look at my wall behind me when I do my hobby talk videos, or when I'm doing camera facing type videos, I'm always my background to the left of me, to your right, left of me. There's a poster on my wall behind me. It's the Justice League International. That's my favorite DC DC property, I guess, or team, or whatever version of the Justice League forever. But that's my favorite set of stories. When I was a kid, that was what I collected. That's the that is, who I, would go to the store to buy. I would get Spider-Man and then Justice League books. That was the two things I really collected and try to get every week, or every month, get those books. So, it was great. I loved, right off the bat, there is Death. So we hit the Death, we hit the Dream. So, I don't know if I can just, I can sell the rest of these cards and make a profit, right? Well, these cards are worth nothing, so not really worth doing that, but there we go. Wildebeest. So, yeah, JLI, for those who don't know, Justice League International, has two of my favorite characters, Booster Gold and Blue Beetle in it. And it was more like a sitcom, so Giffen, DeMatteis, those guys, wrote it like a comedy, and it was unlike, but it also had very serious things going on with it. But it had a lot of just really interesting things happening. There's a JLI, well, I guess Green Lantern, but Nort was a lot in JLI. you had a lot of things happening to the characters, a lot of growth, a lot of changes, but very adult stories and a very silly kind of thing. It reminds me a little bit like how they're doing Harley Quinn, where it's a lot of serious stories wrapped up in a very almost like comedy, thing going on. So it really is just something I really love. I'm gonna get them out of the glare. Maybe adjust the light a little bit. There we go. So we don't get so much glare. Yeah, I'm just, it made reading comics a lot more fun. Oop, there's our first hologram, and this is back when hologram technology kind of sucked. So I'm trying to get, there we go. And it's Hawkman. There we go. You had to get the light just perfect. There's Hawkman. I'm not sure that's a hologram that I would ever send in, but it's just cool to get that. So I like to have like some teams and whatever, photos here. But yeah, like if you think about it, how grim and dark everything was and that time period around 87, 88 when I was really into it. And and I liked the Watchmen. I liked all that stuff, Batman, books at the time. Oh, another death. Look at that. Double death in it. So I'll definitely have some options to send in. So that's my third death because I bought one on eBay just so I'd have one to show people before the video started. And it's actually a really nice one. Another. There we go. Swampy. There is Swamp Thing. That looks pretty cool. So maybe it was a little too harsh early on with the hologram, I guess, negativity. So there we go. We got Swamp Thing. But you can definitely see it's got a big print line right down the middle. So definitely not a gradable candidate if you want something that's a 10. So yeah, but JLI was definitely one of those things that really stood out as being different. Now, and Blue Beetle did something that was really cool. Was he actually at one point during that time period, and later on it became even more of a story in Birds of Prey, where he got overweight and couldn't actually fight crime anymore because he had a heart condition. And to a lot of people that they hated that, but to me, that was awesome because he actually overcome something that was realistic. He didn't overcome some alien virus or something that was, like a superhero thing. It was like, yeah, he's getting older and gained weight, and he was kind of a smart hero, a detective, and used technology, so he didn't need to be super duper in shape to do all that. And I think it was just a cool storylines. And that I thought was more realistic for a character. So yeah, Agent Liberty. So I love it when they have like these characters like Agent Liberty, which are thinly veiled, like Captain America, where the two companies are basically just ripping each other off. Deathstroke, Deadpool, all that stuff. So yeah, this is definitely the time period that I was really into collecting. Now, the one thing that I'm really sad that happened with DC and Alan Moore was, in all honesty, there should be, a lot more Watchmen cards and sets and things, but due to that whole, relationship with Alan Moore, at the time they were trying to work through that. So here is, I didn't even know this. This is cool. So this is Worlds of Magic. So there's multiple characters on this. And so got Tim Hunter, but in the back you got Death. So that's like a bonus Death card. So cool. 2 cards with Death on it. Pretty sweet. Pretty awesome. And again, I've never really opened these before, so I have no clue what I'm going to look at. These boxes you can get for $20 on eBay. I mean, it's just insane. So yeah. So I would encourage anyone to go out and get, if you don't want to get the original books, go out and get the trade paperbacks of the original JLI stories, because you'll be very surprised. Oh my God. So you'll be very surprised at how good and how comedic they are. this is what I hate about DC, and again, the time period. This Zatanna is just horrific. Because this is not the character that everyone remembers Zatanna to be. So this is like, obviously someone drew her as kind of like a punk rock girl. And, that just sucks, in my opinion. So, I love Zatanna, but man, I hate that photo. And here's another death. Very cool. So I think this is forming some sort of like puzzle. So like, I don't know, like, does it go like this? Yeah, it does. So these two cards go together like that. So then you got Death again. Or no, you got Dream in the back of this one. There's Dream right there. So again, cool. Multiple cards. I am getting doubles, so that's Agent Liberty. I like that. So I haven't really looked at doubles too much. I'm just focused on looking for the cards I like. Now, if there's obviously an ice, there's got to be a Booster Gold and Blue Beetle card in here. Hopefully, because they are part of the JLI. So that would be very cool to pull those. Again, a lot of these characters, like, and again, this is like very common to this time period, like Valor, the new breed. They kept trying to introduce new characters, and get rid of the legacy characters or change them up. And again, it's just like what's happening across the board with Marvel right now. It's just like this idea of, legacy characters versus new versions of the legacy characters. It's been an issue forever. This is kind of interesting. Like, this is Eclipso, and a lot of people know Eclipso as being a female. So it was interesting that you had male and female versions of the same character, just like we do now. So it's been that way forever, honestly. JSA. Anytime you see these characters, it's JSA. They don't ever. Another Zatanna. I just don't like that. I wish it was classic Zatanna, then I would be a lot more happy with that. Okay. So, no other JLI characters. Very interesting. Guy Gardner would be another one. That would be very cool to have. Ice, Fire, Guy Gardner, Booster Gold, God, Valor Ken. So a lot of doubles here. So this is also very 90s. Like, it's the same cards over. So this is interesting because this was kind of the first villains in JLI. They fought what do they call them, the Jack of Heart. I don't know, but you can see this is a JLI. Foes of the Justice League. I always call it just JLI because that's the version I like the best. But there you go. She's actually kind of hot. I don't really remember her. I remember the guys. I don't remember the ladies. Again, there's Death peeking out from the tree. The second version of that card. So lots of doubles. Collation's pretty crappy, if I do say so myself. So another foes, the Justice League. So interesting. Don't really care. There's Guy Gardner in his weird little jacket with his really weird belt. So again, weird versions of the characters that no one really liked at the time. And again, there was a time period like with Booster Gold where they gave him this bulky ass armor that he looked a lot like the Hulkbuster armor from Iron Man. Just silly looking stuff. And obviously that stuff stuck because it just looked stupid. Here we go. Who is this? This is like a weird Foes of Justice League again. Okay. There's Death again, or Sandman again. So here's JLI. So this has got to be Power Girl, right? So this is Justice League Europe. So JLI, I guess, so popular. It had a spin-off book set in Europe, and the leader of that team, I think, was Power Girl. But man, again, with the weird ass costume. So she's got a little cape, a little napkin around her neck. Her boob window's not as big as it gets in other versions. And again, her classic coloring is is red and white, not blue as prominent. So again, just a weird version of the character. So, again, as we get into, there's a JLI Fire. So there you go, classic Fire. So this is why I think you get into some, that's a cool card. of why cards can be popular or not. Happens in Marvel too. Marvel cards too. Is you if the rendering of the character is not normal, or it's like a version of it that no one really liked, that card is dead in the water. People just don't want it. I look at Spider-Gwen in the 2017 Ultra Spider-Man set. The PMG for that card is the best version of that character ever made, and so you just get people loving that card because it looks like it's the perfect drawing that you would want a card made out of, right? But if they picked some Spider-Gwen sketch that had her in a weird outfit or whatever, you definitely not want to it would definitely hurt the collectability. So there's Ted Kord in the background. So I will put that down as a 10 because that's the only Blue Beetle that I've seen so far, and I think this might be Booster Gold right here, who's been defeated, or maybe that's a Spectre. I can't tell. Not a great clarity on who is getting their butt kicked there. So yeah, no straight up gold or blue cards yet. Blue and gold is what Booster Gold and Blue Beetle are called. There's the Blue Beetle. So there we go. Photos is just like I don't care. So there's Blue Beetle, and again, that is what what you would expect him to look like. So there we go. In honesty, he's probably my favorite character. I have a couple of his first appearances in the Charlton books. And he came Captain Atom 83, I believe, is his first appearance. So definitely my favorite version of here's Dr. Light from JLI. But definitely my favorite character because to me he's just so relatable, and he's kind of like a cross between Peter Parker and Batman. He's tech driven, but he's very smart. But he started out as kind of a younger hero, so he reminds me a lot of some Peter Parker, very sarcastic. So anyway, not the card, not the this is like for the 3-card puzzle. This is the first card here, so I'll stick him right here. A JLI puzzle card, so I think these two cards go together. Another Guy Gardner. So a lot of JLI. Metamorpho, Dr. Light, I'll put him down here, but I definitely don't like some of these. This is JLE because this has got Elongated Man. So I think this is JLE. Yeah. Oh, this calls it JLI. All right, we'll keep it down there for now. I don't know. I get a lot of cards here. I'm not sure because I'm trying to pull out the cards I might eventually send off to get graded. I'm definitely not going to send out, those kind of cards. So I'm probably just going to keep it down. I thought maybe doing the whole JLI team, but man, don't know if I can do that. But there's Booster Gold. So there we go. We got the Booster Gold. Very cool. Pretty classic Booster Gold. Shooting from his wrist laser or whatever the gauntlets he carries. So definitely in the. And then over here you got Elongated Man, and anyone who read what is it, Crisis? Forget gosh, now it sucks because I can't remember the name of the story. Gosh, where basically Elongated Man, his wife Sue Dibney gets raped and killed by gosh, I forget the name of the character. It's not Dr. Light, is it? But anyway, she gets raped and killed, and then you find out it's like not Sue, sorry, it's you find out eventually like Elongated Man's wife is the one that's behind it all. So sorry to spoil that story. I can't even remember the name of it, but it's I think it's Identity Crisis. Yeah, Identity Crisis was it just crapped all over Justice League International because it took Elongated Man, who was a really nice dude, and his wife which were just one of the most loving couples. I made her a crazy killer, and then it just was not what I consider to be a good story to begin with, and just not what people. For me, I definitely did not like the story because of how it crapped all over a lot of the Justice League International stuff. But it just made like no sense, but it was very, because there was a rape, and then they were mind wiping people, and Batman got pissed off. I don't know, like Identity Crisis is a big mess. I believe that's when they killed one of the Robins. I mean, it just went everywhere, man. It's like they just did a lot of crap in that book, and but it ruined Elongated Man forever. Like Elongated Man became like crazy, and it just like it took the whole Dibneys and just made one of them a killer and ruined the other one. Just terrible treatment of the character. So, and then they killed Blue Beetle later on, and Countdown to Infinite Crisis. So, whoever was in charge of DC at one point hated the Justice League International. And for folks who, the editor, Didio, I believe was his name, he talked about, like basically that, he felt like the Justice League International was sophomoric and wasn't worth preserving, in terms of storytelling, or, where it was like, it wasn't something that they were hoping to keep, like the characters or the stories, that's cool. Where he grows into, Shazam. All right, third one. So yeah, like it was really kind of a crappy way of treating those characters, but it's because editorial from DC basically decided that they didn't deserve to have their either memory of the characters or the characterization saved, because they're basically cannon fodder. They were like, we can't ruin Batman or Superman, but we can, ruin these other characters for editorial reasons. So we're going to kill Blue Beetle. We're going to make Max Lord into a freaking villain, when he really was never a villain in any of the stories, but, they basically made him one. Just, kind of stuff like that. And so if you're a fan of the Justice League, you're like, what? Max Lord's a villain? Like, what the hell is going on? And then they screw over the Dibneys, they, kill Blue Beetle, replace him with another Blue Beetle, and it's just, it just seems like such a waste of characters and storytelling. And the thing that's crazy is like so many people love that time period in those stories that they, just crapped all over that whole thing. And the thing that was even funnier was there was like, I can't believe it's not the Justice League or whatever. Like there was 2 miniseries out almost at the same time that was basically paying homage to that whole time period, and was a love story about those characters and how cool they were. And so at the same time that they were doing, like, I think Identity Crisis and then Countdown, they were doing like formerly known as the Justice League and all that stuff. And basically you had one part of DC talking about how, or basically writing stories about how great that time period was and how cool that kind of storytelling was. And you had one side of it trying to do everything in their power to just crap all over the memory of those characters and basically kill some of them off. And so there's Lobo, the most overrated character in the DC universe. Just, I don't like any story he really ever appears in. He's had some stories I guess are okay. But again, he's one of those one-note characters. Like, they haven't figured out how to use him like Marvel has Deadpool. They haven't really given him... Because, again, his character is so extreme. Like, because that's what he was developed to be. An extreme, character. And they've never backed that down to give him any sort of other personality other than just, like this extreme, like, arrogance. And he just wears thin, like after like 10 minutes of him appearing anywhere in a comic book or on screen, like when he's in any of the when he's in any of the animated, shows, he just never comes across as being cool. He's like the butt of a joke, or he's like, like almost like a bad guy. And they've never really figured out how to make him look cool, or like I think what he was originally intended to be, which is like their version of like, the Punisher or something like that. And it just never worked. I mean, they did Vigilante, which is, like, and again, this is what happens to DC, right? They put Vigilante in the Peacemaker series. He becomes a breakout character. And then you're like, well, they've had him in DC for all these years and they haven't done crap with him. And now he's this breakout star because someone wrote good stories for him. Okay. So it's just, and it goes to that whole trope that there's no such thing as bad characters, just bad stories. And I think that's very true for the DC. It's like you can definitely take a character like Blue Beetle, the original Blue Beetle, make some great stories, because his death story, Countdown, is one of the better stories he ever was in, because they cared about it, because they were trying to set up something they wanted to be good, and they made a good story out of it. And they could have done that beforehand, but they decided that, we're just going to kill him off. We're not going to have, a cool stories about, these characters. We'll use them as, just editorial fodder, and, that's where we're at. Now, they didn't do that with Sandman and Death. It's because they like those stories, right? They're still something that DC holds to be important. So you haven't seen them crap all over the, Death and Sandman like they have JLI. Some people think, the prequels to Watchmen crap all over the Watchmen books, but I think they try to really do those well. Like, they weren't trying to crap all over the stories. Like, I mean, if they took and like made Rorschach, something completely different, and just, made basically the original Watchmen, mean something completely different, then I think you could say, well, yeah, they really screwed this up, but they didn't. And so I think they were trying to pay homage and be as mindful to those characters as possible. They didn't do the, like turn, one of the characters into a killer and kill a bunch of them. I mean, they just didn't do all the weird stuff they did to the JLI. And now they're, I don't know. I feel like DC right now at the point is they've lost so much to Marvel that, and their sales are down to the point where I just feel like they're just going to do stuff now to try to get some sales. So it's going to be just outside of like Nightwing and a few stories going on. DC is going to struggle for a little bit longer until either they get bought by someone or someone new creatively gets there and kind of figures out what's happening. It's kind of sad. All right, it looks like we are done with the box, and the characters I cared about are over on this side here. Again, looking for Sandman, Blue Beetle, Booster Gold. So there we go. There's one Blue Beetle. There's two Booster Golds, two Blue Beetles. There's these extra cards here, which are part of like a team photo. So I got two of each, Sandman and Death of those. And then I got two Death and only one Sandman. So a little disappointed I didn't get a double, at least so I could look at them. But the one thing that is real interesting is that the cards are well centered. I haven't really noticed like the cards being just terribly centered. There isn't a lot of wear or edge on them. And so I think they're great. Okay. So I have 3 Deaths now. So I'm going to go through and see which ones are the best to get graded. If I was going to look at it right now, I'd probably say I'm going to send in Blue Beetle, Booster Gold, Death, and Sandman right off the bat to get graded at some point to see if I can pull it in. And then the hits, I guess, you can look at the holograms and you can say, either you love them or to me, they're better than originally I thought, but they're still kind of, lame compared to later hologram. The technology a little better. We got Lobo, Captain Marvel, which is not the Captain Marvel that had the movies, but Shazam. You got Swamp Thing, which I think is the coolest one of the 3. And then you got Hawkman, which has never been a character that people care about too much about. So there you go. That's my box of 93 Cosmic Teams pulled everything I wanted, so I'm very happy. And again, this is like a $20 to $30 product, so it's my first series of DC comic cards I'm going to be opening. And I know this is going to generate tens and tens of views, so it's not here. I'm not doing this for view count or anything like that. It's just I love the characters that are on these cards, and I want to try to get some of these in some PSA 10s, put in my collection, because I'm just going to hold them and make maybe like displays out of them or whatever. But I like the cards, and one of these days these might be worth something. Who knows? But right now they're not. So it's just more about me having fun. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and let me know in the comments what other DC sets you want me to see me open and what cards to look for. Because coming up next, I'm going to be opening the 93 Batman Animated, which has the first Harley Quinn in it, and that's coming up pretty quickly. That box is on its way. So I'll be opening that, looking for Harley Quinn and Joker cards pretty soon. So, all right. So I'll catch you next time on Cards and Comics. Hope you liked it, and have a great weekend. And I'll see you next time. Bye.